it seems to me on almost every webinar that I do, something goes wrong. It's just the nature of doing live webinars. And in the future, I'm going to probably be doing more pre-recorded webinars for that very reason. And today, I've got to say, all day long, we actually spent the morning in Amish country. We like to go down there and do our shopping for a lot of our food goods. And anyway, I've just, I did what I needed to do today, but I kind of relaxed a little bit. I've been working hard lately. And I thought, hey, no problem, my presentation is already done. And yet this evening when I went to open up my presentation, I couldn't find my presentation. So probably that's thanks to my 3-year-old son who likes to come up to my office and turn my computer off, and probably I just didn't have it saved, and there it went. So I may not be as polished as I'd like to be here in the presentation, just simply because over the last 45 minutes before we got going here, I was throwing this together. And I don't mean to say throwing it together as though you're not going to get a good product here, because I know what I'm talking about, and hopefully I had many of the pieces in various places, but I had to assemble this rather quickly. So affiliate power strategy, first thing I want to say here is that it's really been an evolution. My very first product in the internet marketing niche was the AdWords Black Book, which did very, very well, and it was really a surprise hit, I guess. That's what you would call it. And but over the years, most of what I have taught has really been more, here are a bunch of really good ideas, and for people who are more advanced, most of my customers have been more intermediate to advanced in the past, but a lot of the newer people just got left behind because they just don't understand the foundation of where I'm thinking from. And so as a teacher, it's been a growth process for me to be able to better explain things, and my goal really is to break all of this down eventually. It's not all going to happen tonight. Tonight's kind of broad strokes, but to eventually break this stuff down for you so that you can clearly understand step by step, what it is that you need to do in the process, okay? Before you get to the fine details, though, I think you need to understand the broad scope of what's going on, and so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I know that you guys really don't care about the history of, the guy talking to you, and so I'm not doing this to wow or impress or bore you to death, okay? None of the above. The reason that I'm doing this is because I hope that some of you will recognize my, growth, as a marketer over the years, and see some of the things that I've gone through and some of the ahas that I had that have brought me to the point where I am today. And I think that will help you to plug in some of the pieces of the puzzle. So first thing that you need to know about me is I wasn't born an instant success. I started out as a personal coach, and it seemed like I was the only person in the personal coaching community who could put together a website, and therefore people kept hiring me, and I took the jobs because I wasn't doing a very good job of getting personal coaching customers. So I kept taking these, jobs, putting together websites, and eventually started, doing internet marketing. This, you should know, was back in 1999. So, man, I'm an old timer. I've been doing internet marketing for almost a third of my life now, so that's kind of amazing to me. Before that, I did all kinds of, you name it. I did everything, and I really thought I was never going to figure out what it is that I wanted to do with my life. And so, I kind of backed into internet marketing and loved it, and, quit the job that I had at the time to pursue that full-time, which was a big mistake. I thought I knew a whole lot more about business than I actually did, and I spent the first 3 years failing miserably. I mean, my tax returns, I could show them to you. Every year, my income was below $10,000 a year. And, in that process, during that time, I got married, and, fortunately, my wife stuck with me. but you know, it was not good. And finally I had to admit that I didn't know what I was doing and that I was not probably likely going to figure it out on my own. So what did I do? I got a job, which was a double-edged sword, as jobs can be. Fortunately, I took the good advice of Robert Kiyosaki, and I found a job that, even though it wasn't exactly for the reason that I thought it was, but I found a job where I was working for the knowledge to make money instead of working for money. And I think that that is such a core, critical concept that all of us need to embrace if we want to really get any place. And there are so many people in the world who forfeit their dreams in order to get a sure-thing paycheck. All right? Well, the sure-thing paycheck is important, no doubt about it, especially if you've got a family to support. However, if you're not acquiring that knowledge along the way, you're never going to break free of that. So fortunately, I got a job. It was a direct marketing company in the self-help industry. I learned a ton of stuff. You know, when I got the job, most of their business came from doing direct mailing. That was like 90% of their business. And within the year and a half that I was there, it went from 90% direct mail, the other 10% coming from online, to really flip-flopping that. And so, ironic story behind all that, that was actually a big part of the reason why I ended up losing my job, or more particularly getting fired, because, you know, the boss insisted that, you know, we had to make more money online, and I was like pointing, saying, look, you know, we flip-flopped what happened here, and the truth of the matter is, dude, you're not doing your job, okay? So he didn't like that, and he fired me, and that's the story. So after that, fortunately, I made some connections during that time, and I took on some consulting jobs, you know, more or less think of, you know, the scraping together maybe $500 a month on retainer here, and, you know, maybe do a little project job over here that might bring in $750. Fortunately, that made enough money that we could pay our bills, and, well, almost, but really what, you know, put us over the top was that I had to start doing some very creative things. One of the things actually involved affiliate marketing. I kind of go way back with the Rich Dad stuff and with their affiliate program, and I started selling licenses to their e-game, or basically I was selling their software product to their e-game on eBay, and what would happen is, because people would pay full price on it at that time, you know, I'd put it for sale for $100, I'd collect their $100, and then I would go and order it, you know, through the Rich Dad site, and, you know, this was for a 15% commission, you know, so I'd make $15 to do that, and it sounds funny now, but that was very important money to us then, and that did pretty well until Kiyosaki's people contacted me, and they thought that I was ripping off their software, and I had to explain to them what was going on, and then they asked me to not do that. But anyway, you know, I've had to do a lot of creative things like that in order to make ends meet. And when you're in a sink or swim situation, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it kind of brings out the fight. And so that's how I innovated a lot of the techniques that I do, because I really did not want to go get the alternative job that was available in Sedona, Arizona, which was handing out towels to fat, rich, naked guys in the locker room. And I'm serious. Those were like the jobs that were available. So I wasn't going there. So, you know, doing these consulting gigs, I realized, number one, it created a lot of stress for me. Number two, there really was a ceiling to what I could do. And number three, which was really the most important for me, was that I was very constrained. Okay, so I was working for one guy, and number one, he wanted the homepage of his website to point people in 10 different directions. And I was like, no, dude, you know, that's not what you can do. That's not what you want to do. You need to identify the one thing on that page that you want people to do. We need to remove everything else. I think that one thing should be building a list. he said, no, I'm not getting people on the list and losing sales because they're coming to my website to buy this. So we had a disagreement, and it was actually a great thing for me because once I figured out how to do it, I just built my own website, and I started driving all that traffic and affiliate traffic as well. His affiliates, I started sending them to my site and doing it my way. And so I built the list. That was the first good thing. The second good thing was that really I got myself, I got the freedom to do what I believed was right, which was a big right move. And then the third thing was that pretty much I put my income, and this is the key point that you really got to get here, I put my income on autopilot, okay? So instead of him paying $500 every month and expecting me to do however much work, 20, 30 hours of work for him or whatever it was at that time, I no longer was accountable to him for any hours. So I set up the website, I set up all of the follow-up marketing and everything else, and it ran on autopilot then, okay? And the checks were bigger than they would have been if I was taking the consulting gig check from him. That allowed me then to move on to the next project, and the next project, and the next project. Now, I've told this story at the time. I was still doing a little bit of personal coaching, and I agreed with this guy to do a trade. He was, a really good CPA and very good at creating all of these spreadsheets, which were really way more than I needed. But I gave him all of my numbers, and he created this whole system, and he plugged these numbers in, and he came to me, and he was like, I've never seen anything like this. I know that, you're not rich here yet, but your income is growing 10% every month, and it has been, for a year and a half now. And I was like, yeah, that's what's possible when you build something, you automate it, and you move on to the next thing, and you keep building it. Most businesses don't grow like that, on top of the fact that it's low risk. So anyway, that's what I realized, that there was a better way, and that's when I started to innovate different things with affiliate marketing. Now, what I didn't tell you guys up here is that, when I was a miserable failure, I was working my butt off. I mean, I'm not kidding. I just read an article that people exaggerate how much they really work, but I really was working 12 to 14 hours a day. I went through long periods of insomnia where I would, go to bed at 11 at night. I would sleep until 1:30. I would get up and I'd work until 5 in the morning, and then I'd take another 2-hour nap, and then I'd see my wife off to school. And that was my life, struggling to try to make this thing work. And I was, writing articles. That's why I'm so down on a lot of this stuff. I was writing articles. I was putting great content out there. And this was 1999, folks, before there was a whole lot out there to compete with. I had good search engine placement. I had figured out all of that search engine optimization stuff. And I wasn't making any money. I wasn't making any money selling affiliate products, and I wasn't making any money creating my own products, and I had created a number of my own products. It just wasn't working, okay? So fast forward here, I realized that there was a better way, and that better way for me was, part of that was also recognizing that there were people out there in the market, whatever market it was that I wanted to get into, who were already established as gurus, and putting all that time and energy into trying to brand myself as a guru was just a waste of time. And I don't think that you can get there from that place. You're not going to get there just starting out. Even if you are a guru in a niche, you've got to really know what you're doing with the marketing, okay? And so eventually here I became a super affiliate. What do you know? I started making really good money doing this, and I achieved financial freedom. I remember, and when I say financial freedom, I'm not talking like I was a mega millionaire in my little red Ferrari. I'm talking about, that point at which my passive income, the income that I no longer had to do anything to earn anymore, exceeded the living expenses that we had, okay? Very cool feeling if you haven't achieved that. It's awesome because, the other part of that is then you can pretty much do it, what you want to do with your time. And it gave me a lot of room, even greater room to then experiment in what it was that I was doing as an internet marketer, and that's what's fun to me. And then the next thing, and I'm not going to get into the story, is, I messed up sort of really when I got into this whole marketing guru teaching thing because, the affiliate model really worked, okay? And I'm going to do another webinar where I talk about that, not so much because I want to sell you guys on affiliate marketing. I trust that probably you're already sold on affiliate marketing if you're here. But, I just want to say that I walked the path as an affiliate. I've been on the path and walked the path as a successful product seller. And at this point in time, my eye is on wanting to be more of an affiliate again, okay? And the two are really not exclusive. I think once you get to a point, you should be creating your products. That's what I talk about in high response traffic number 1. The power, the leverage that you gain when you do have that. But at the core, I am still an affiliate, and that's what I believe myself to be more than anything else. So that's what I identify as, regardless of, what the evidence may say. So let me check something real quick here. I just want to make sure that I don't have any questions popping up here. And let's see here. Okay. So I've got a person or two saying that they can't hear the sound, but I've had other people verify that they do hear the sound. And it looks to me like maybe Skype is the common denominator there. And hopefully, okay, no problem, Benny. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. All right, moving along here. So let's start out at the very basics here. Let's define something that most internet marketers can't define, and that's the word marketing. And so this is actually just a little variation that I took from the American Marketing Association, and that is this, and I recommend that you memorize this because it's so very important. And that is, marketing is a set of processes, you could read that as systems as well, for creating, communicating, and delivering value to customers, okay? So we're creating value, we're communicating value, and we're delivering value to customers. And the key word there is value, all right? Now we have a lot of people out there calling themselves internet marketers who are not creating any value. It is my opinion that hiring somebody to write a $5 article for you is really pretty marginal value that we're creating. And so that's not how I'm looking at doing things at all, and I encourage you to not look at doing things like that either. Sure, you might make a couple of bucks, but why make a couple of bucks when you could make 10 bucks or 100 bucks? It just makes no sense at all to me, and you're going to be in the game long term, okay? Like I said, I've been here for 12 years. I've done a lot of stupid stuff, okay? I've done traffic equalizer. I threw that junk up on sites that were once upon a time PageRank 5 sites that I had built, through years of work, and Google de-indexed them. They were gone. I've done a lot of stuff that's just really stupid. I spent, a year and a half. At the time, it seemed like a lot more time, doing AdSense, okay? Yeah, you can make money doing that. And I have to say, it's a lot of fun to make money with AdSense because you're really not doing anything. But man, I wasted a year and a half of my life when I could have been building some assets up that would still be producing today because, of course, all that AdSense stuff is gone now, okay? So we want to focus on creating value for people, adding value any place that we can, and that's what will really help us to build a business. Now, I want to come back here. There are some things that are stressed here on the screen, set of processes. We'll talk about that a little bit more here later. Creating value, communicating, and delivering. If you do any one of those three things well, you are going to have some level of success. If you do all three of them well, you're going to have great success, okay? So next up here, we want to talk about strategy. Again, this is a word that's thrown around. I just want to make this very simple. Since this is the Affiliate Power Strategy, a strategy is simply a plan for achieving a specific goal, Okay? So there's two parts to that. One, what is your specific goal? What is it that you want to accomplish? And it's not just, hey, I want to make a bunch of money. Maybe it's, I want to replace my day job, okay? And if you want to replace your day job, then you have a number, all right? If you're making $60,000 a year at that job plus benefits, then you have a number to shoot for there, okay? That needs to be how specific that you need to be, and then break it down. And then the other part of this is, what is the plan for achieving it? Now, there are a lot of plans out there. Some of them may work. Some of them may not work. Some of them may work better than others. Some of them may work better than others for you. And I think that that's the real challenge, for all of us, is deciding what is the plan that I am going to select and stick with and commit to, and I'm going to cut off from everything else because, I've been, and we're all in this boat. I'm in this boat too. I mean, I'm an internet marketing product junkie, and I've got more stuff on my computer. I can't believe my computer, can hold it all. I've got so much stuff. I could spend the next 10 years of my life, and I'm probably not exaggerating, just going through all of the content and material that I have, never mind implementing it, okay? And it's nuts. And I know it's nuts, and you know it's nuts, and at some point, you do have to just commit to doing something. Even if you fail at it, you've got to do it, and that's where we learn the most. So next, tactics. I've been very much a tactic teacher in the past. That's kind of what I started talking about initially. I really like to come up with, bitch slapping, aggressive tactics. And I like to go after people, and that to me is fun. It gets me going. And but tactics anyway are just a part of the process. They're just something that we do to gain an advantage over our competitors out there. And you need to realize that, sure, you're an affiliate, but, really step back and take a look at what it is that you're doing and ask yourself, let's take the article marketing guy who puts up a little banner ad on his website, for the affiliate product. Well, really, if I'm in a kung fu fight over here with, X or whoever it may be, how am I going to stack up? Do I really think that this little article here that, gives the 3 great points and the 1, flaw and the 5-star rating is going to outsell this guy over here? And, if those are the tactics that you're using, if that's your overall strategy and those are the tactics, man, you're going to get your butt kicked, okay? And the people who have been teaching you that, it's like, saying, here, man, go out here and fight, badass Joe, and I'm going to give you a popsicle stick when he's got it, you get the idea, I hope, okay? You're being set up for failure, and that sucks. So let's talk about systems here. Systems are the thing, and I have not been a system guy. I want you to understand that. Now, where I've been successful, it's because I've had a system, but it's not, because I'm Mr. Meticulous, let's document everything out. At least that's how, or not how it has been, really. I had a very simple system in the beginning, and it was this, okay? You guys know what Google Cache is, so everybody was doing direct linking. You find an affiliate product, you put up a Google AdWords ad, you direct link to the merchant website, and hopefully you make some money. And a lot of people, when there was no competition, they did really great. But what happens when one other person comes there? Well, you just lost half of, what's going on for you. I said, no, my little system here is I'm going to send these people to a squeeze page, and I'm going to build a list. And well, that made me infinitely more successful than the people competing with me. So that was my system, okay? And that system evolved, and it's a very simple system. And even what I do today is just, a variation with improvements upon that core system. But systems are important. The other thing that I want you guys to really embrace is the fact, and this was like such an epiphany for me, I was reading a book called, what is the name of that book? It's by Sam Carpenter. Drawing a blank right now. Work the System. That's what it is, Work the System. So anyway, I was reading that book, and a lot of people recommend that book. You know, it is probably something that could be boiled down to 10% of what it is. But the epiphany point that I got out of that was when he said that everything is a system. Even if your life is in chaos, it's systematized, but the system is just chaos. And I was like, wow, you know. And it was such an eye-opener to me. And so I started really, you know, the cool thing about that was I could then like look and say, well, you know, my system here is sit down at computer, do some random thing. Okay, that was my system. And then I could say, well, you know, I'm going to change it. I'm going to sit down at my computer, and here's the first thing that I'm going to do. So it really gave me a lot of power, and it has been slowly, painfully changing my business, changing my life as a whole. But, you know, it's a cool thing. So you need a set of processes, you need procedures, and you need tactics. And all of these things then add up to a system, okay? The thing that we need to get is that everything is a system, like I just said. Effective systems survive. The sun comes up every day, okay? The moon, you know, does its thing, and they've been doing their things. They're effective systems. Systems that are not effective, they go out of business. They fail. They die, right? When our body system becomes unhealthy, we die, and that's how it is. Effective systems also evolve. So like I said, you know, I pretty much am operating with the same system, which has had to evolve, you know, but it's pretty much the same system that I've been using successfully for the last 6, 7 years that I have been figuring it out as an internet marketer. Ineffective systems do not, okay? So that's something to build off of there. Now let's talk about something called Gall's Law, and that is this. A complex system, so think about a car, a complex system that works is invariably found to have evolved from a simple system that worked, okay? So a car really evolved from what? Well, you know, it's the combination of a couple of systems. One would be the combustion engine. The other would be, you know, the horse-drawn buggy, okay? But, you know, the car wouldn't have worked if somebody probably said, gee, I'm going to try to think up, you know, this contraption that people can sit on and drive and work, you know. There had to be systems that were invented first in order for that to work. The next part of this is that the inverse proportion also appears to be true. A complex system designed from scratch never works and cannot be made to work. Cannot be made to work, okay? You have to start over beginning with a simple working system. So let's translate that. All right, Gall's Law translation. You must learn to walk before you can run. Okay? So the reason why I failed in the beginning was, gee, I was trying to become product creator and internet marketer and traffic expert and all of these things all at the same time. And I didn't have one system in that whole process that was proven and that worked. Okay? The result, predictable failure. All right? Next thing up here. Trying to figure this stuff out from scratch is an endeavor in foolishness. Okay? It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. I mean, you can try if you want to. You know, you can go out there and you can read all you want on forums. You can surf around trying to find, you know, whatever you want to find. But you've got to find one system component that's going to work before you can move on to the next thing. So it ain't likely going to happen unless you already have a system that works someplace else. Now, if you think about this, I've been around long enough, as I've said, and I'm starting to, you know, sound like the old guy here on the mountain. If you've been around long enough, then, you know, I kind of recognize like 4 generations of internet marketing gurus, okay? And so in the very beginning, you know, we had some people like maybe Mark Joyner, Rick Beneteau, a lot of people, Joe Vitale, Carl Galletti, you know, a lot of people that you may or may not even recognize their names anymore, you know. I mean, it's only been 12 years, but that's how much things have changed. Now, where did all of those guys come from? They came from direct marketing. You know, all of the original internet marketing gurus, all of them had a background in direct marketing, which they then brought to internet marketing. I'd have to say the only one that I'm not absolutely positively sure on is Mark Joyner, but I'm sure that he had some background in some kind of system that enabled him to, you know, get into internet marketing and become successful. All right, then you've got your next generation of gurus, your Reeses and whatnot, who, you know, they just built on those guys. They built on the Gary Halberts of the world and whatnot. And then the third generation of people like Mike Filsaime, they built on those guys. And then you've got your fourth generation people now like Jason Fladlien and whatnot. And, you know, all these people have just built on other people who came before them who had systems that worked. It's not like anybody just, you know, pulled this out and said, gee, I've got, you know, some crazy unique system that nobody ever thought of anyplace else in the whole entire world. And if we want to keep on going back, you know, all of this stuff, you know, came out of P.T. Barnum. I mean, really, if you keep going back, you'll see the threads there. Okay? So here's the big picture. I'm just going to give you a picture. I think we've probably hit on all of this stuff enough for tonight. I want to get on to some other things, but here's the picture. You know, you need a strategy that consists of two things. You need a plan and you need a goal. Your goal should be built on a vision. I recommend that you have a vision for the life that you want to create. I have always been very clear about the life that I wanted to create, and my work has fit the goal or the vision, not the other way around, okay? And then on the other side of that is to have a plan. You need to have systems, and then, of course, you need to execute it. That's a whole other thing for a lot of us, but there you go. All right, moving on. So let's talk about some internet marketing basics that are not common knowledge to most people. You have traffic, all right? Probably everybody knows about traffic. A lot of different ways to get traffic. And I have found that that is the obsession with most people. Everybody's heard of traffic equalizer. Conversion equalizer was a big flop, okay? And that's just the way that it is. Of course, the other part of the equation is conversion. That's it. That's internet marketing. Get traffic, convert the traffic. That's it, all right? So look at it that simply. You know, if you're not getting the result that you want, then you're failing in one or both of those two places there, okay? They, of course, do go hand in hand. If you convert well, you will get more traffic. If you don't convert well, you won't get more traffic. If you convert well, you can afford more traffic. If you don't convert well, you can't afford more traffic, okay? The next thing here is front end and back end, okay? So I want to share something here. These things are probably common knowledge. You guys have probably all heard this, okay? So pop quiz, where's all the money? Where's everybody saying all the money is? Not a trick question. It's in the back end, and truly it is in the back end, okay? But here's the problem, okay? Traffic equals front end. Are you guys with me on that? Traffic equals front end. So the big traffic generation, when people are out there talking about affiliate offers that generate a whole bunch of traffic, or when people are out there talking about, you know, their big mass media buys, they're talking about traffic that they're selling a front-end product to, right? I mean, nobody's out there paying for banner advertising to sell their, you know, $25,000 live event. They're out there selling, you know, they're out there generating that mass traffic a lot of times to give something away for free, to get leads on a list, right? All right. The other part of it, conversion then equals back end. So conversion, you know, yes, we're converting on the front end, but once somebody is converted on the front end, it's only for the purpose really of getting them to a back end. And that is especially true with anybody who's achieved success. Yeah, there are a lot of people out there who are selling, you know, cheap products in order to get people on a list, and then they sell them other things. I mean, that's their back end. Their back end is selling other front end products, which is not probably the best model for them, but this is what I want you to recognize. Now, what does this have to do with you as an affiliate, okay? I want you to look at this, and I want you to think about it. what part of the game are you playing in here? And what are you? All right? What you are as an affiliate, in the eyes of most people, is a cheap source of traffic. And that's it. You're a cheap source of traffic. You put in all the work to generate the traffic. You spend money on the traffic. You send the traffic. And somebody says, hey, with a big smile, I'm more than happy to pay you a 75% commission. Thank you very much for doing all my work for me and building my business. Chump. Okay? That's what's going on, and you've got to see this. You know, when you put a banner ad up on your website, you are cheap traffic, your front-end traffic. And, you know, there is a limit to how far you can go with that. Okay, and I want to clarify some things here, okay, because you might be thinking, well, you're contradicting yourself just a little bit here, X, because earlier you were saying you achieve financial freedom, you know, as an affiliate. So what's the deal? Well, I want to show you what the deal is. We will get there. All right, the Agora model. I love the Agora story. I don't know, I've been fascinated with them for a while. I've got a bunch of different things that I like to share with people about Agora. But tonight I'm just going to share like the big broad stroke model that they have. Okay, so if you go to any of Agora's websites, and I highly encourage you to go to International Living, check that out, get on their list, especially if you have any interest at all in living in another country. And it's just a very, very valuable lesson in marketing. And so you go to their site, and they even teach this stuff. I haven't been through any of their programs, but I mean, you can go and you can look and you can learn a lot just by observing what people do. You know, the crux of everything they do is getting people on an opt-in list. Okay. The next thing that we do here, and you know, a lot of this is familiar, but the way that they do it. This is it. This is the whole model that has enabled them to build a $300 million a year internet marketing company. Okay. The next thing that they do is they step you up. They then sell you a physical magazine that costs $15 a quarter. And after you subscribe for that, you realize that for the most part, it's just, you know, all of the stuff that they were sending you with the free opt-in, but it's in a magazine now with some ads thrown in. Okay. Learn something from that. Because I paid for that. It took me 2.5 years to call them and cancel that. The next thing that you do is you get the $300 to $500 home training course, how to buy real estate in Mexico or whatever it may be. Okay. The next step after that then is they try to get you to come down on location in Mexico because, of course, once you go through the home training, you're really not any closer to executing on the dream, and you realize that, gee, I could go down there, this is a little bit scary, I could get ripped off, I mean, this is my retirement I'm putting at risk, I better spend the $3,000, $5,000 to go get the on-location training, how to buy real estate in Mexico. And then, of course, because we've all been to internet marketing seminars, many of us still don't leave there feeling like we know everything, and so they're like, oh, you know, why don't we just set you up here with our friend, Mr. Ramirez, and he's an expert, and you know, he knows the right attorneys and everything, and we're going to help you buy your piece of real estate in New Mexico. Now, of course, the whole design from the very beginning here, when you came to opt into that newsletter, was to sell you a piece of real estate through this broker in Mexico. Okay, so they just sold you a $40,000 lot overlooking the ocean. It's undeveloped. They probably won't build a road there for 25 years. But they just cut $40,000. They just made a $40,000 sale, and all of this basically is working as an affiliate. Okay, that's the part of this that I want you to get. So this is the power strategy. Where is it that most affiliates are playing? Okay, first of all, let's look at this, you know, and just point this out. Each step of this whole process is for the purpose of bringing a prospect a step closer to the fantasy. And the fantasy is to live the dream. Okay, now for me or anybody else who fantasizes about living in another country, it's like, gee, at 45 years old, I've got, you know, my American income that's like worth 3 times as much down here as Mexico. I've got a maid. I've got a live-in cook. My wife doesn't work. I don't work. We've got a beautiful property. Wow, I'm living the dream. Okay, so that's what they're selling. They're selling this fantasy. Robert Greene, the author of, what the heck is that, 49, Laws of Power, I got to look at my bookshelf here, says there is great power in tapping into the fantasies of the masses. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with some stuff here, but I want to just give you guys a taste of where we're going here. So what are you doing now? Okay, the opt-in. Even a lot of my students just simply refuse to put up a damn opt-in form on their website. Okay? I just stuck with the technical stuff, or, I don't like to write, or whatever. Man, if you were sitting here right now, I'd have to slap you around a little bit. Okay? The next thing that they do is they're selling the front end. So everybody who's an affiliate is selling a front end product. And woohoo, I got my $30 commission today, and, man, I'm jazzed up. All right? They're not in on the home study course. They're not in on the live event. And they're sure as heck not in on the brass ring. Okay? So we've got 5 components here, and they're in on this one part where really we've already said all they are is a cheap source of traffic. Okay? You guys get it? Are you with me here? All right. So I do see that I have a question over here, and I will get to questions in the end. So like I said here, you're in on the front end, and that's it. That's the only place where you're making money, and all the money, the big money, is back here. And actually it's up here too, because instead of the one-time sale, you could be selling stuff over and over and over by having people on a list. Okay? So it's a really crazy way of going about affiliate marketing. Now, yeah, this stuff has worked. Yeah, you're going to have to make some connections. Yeah, it's, whatever. So I don't want anybody to use not having these things as an excuse for not doing these things. Certainly you should be doing these things, but certainly you need to be doing these things too, or at least thinking about these things with the end in mind. And it will totally change everything about what it is that you're doing. Okay? It will change the amount of money that you can invest. It will change the value that you're willing to offer, the investment in time and effort and money maybe even that you're willing to make in order to be building your business here. And if you think this is complicated, I mean, we just moved to Tennessee about a year ago. And essentially our dream was that we wanted to buy 5 acres and set up a little farm and start growing, most of our food, and really to become more self-sufficient and whatever. That's our dream. We wanted something for our family. We wanted our kids to have a certain experience. And so, there are people all over the state of Tennessee who are selling 5-acre lots. How much work would it be for me to go out there, find somebody selling 5-acre lots with or without homes, and set up a deal for selling land? Well, it might be a little bit tricky to sell that piece of land, but maybe we need to have the live event first, where people come and they really get to dig around in the dirt here, maybe even at, the Barker family farm, and I charge them money and I teach them how to, rototill a garden and plant a garden or whatever it might be. And maybe we've got the home study course. Gee, this is how we set up our life, and this is how we generated an income, and this is how we homeschool our kids, and this is how we pull all of this stuff off and make it happen. And you know what? I've actually seen actual posts on the internet where people have said, my dream is to buy 5 acres and to be able to be at home with my kids and homeschool them. There are people out there saying that's their dream, okay? Front-end product, how to build a chicken coop, how to, backyard container garden or whatever. Now, I might only be able to sell that backyard container garden ebook for $20, but, if there's a brass ring here where I might end up selling some of these people a $20,000, chunk of land here in Tennessee, that kind of changes the whole equation for me, right? So I hope that you guys see what I'm getting at here. So this is what we're going to wrap this up here. I don't have a clock in front of me. It's 8:48. Okay. So I want to wrap up here with the visual. And this is what, if you kind of take nothing away, this is, what I hope you wake up and you see in your head at 2 o'clock in the morning tonight, okay? up here, let's think about this, okay? So we'll go ahead and use internet marketing people, but this happens in every niche out there that has any significance, any gravity whatsoever, okay? So up at the very top here, let's just say we've got Johnny Kern or Frankie Kern, okay? Frank Kern up here. All right, now Frank comes out with his hot new product, and so what does he do, you know? Well, he doesn't go out to everybody in the world. He doesn't go over to the Warrior Forum and say, gee, you know, I need some affiliates here to promote this. He's got his syndicate people, right? He's got his John Reese. He's got his Jeff Walker. He's got his Mike Filsaime. He's, you know, we've got our syndicate, our ring of I am lords here, if you will, right? And so why do you think these guys are promoting? Do you think they're promoting Frank because, you know, gee, they're all motivated by that 50%, you know, commission on that $2,000 product? Or do you think that they're motivated by the, you know, win yourself a big screen TV or get your Rolex watch or whatever? You know, yeah, sure, we're all motivated by those things, but the big motivation is because really what's happening is John Reese is throwing Frank Kern a biscuit here, okay? And when John Reese comes out with his product, what's going to happen? Well, Frank's going to throw John a biscuit, okay, or however it is, you know? They're going to promote each other. And the reason that these guys got big is because they promote each other, all right? Now, when they promote each other, something happens. And it's easier to see this in an internet marketing niche, but, you know, John Reese is then going to go out and promote Frank's product, and who's on his list? Well, a bunch of, you know, internet marketers, and some percentage of those internet marketers are then going to go to Frank Kern up here, and they're going to sign up for his affiliate program, and they're going to promote, you know, and these guys, we'll just say that this level, they've got a little bit more going on for them. They've got a list going on, and they've built up some traction and whatnot. Maybe they're not John Reese level, but, you know, they're doing pretty well. They're going to produce some sales, and once in a while they're going to make the top 10, you know, list and all that good stuff, all right? And then you've got the next group of people down here who are like, oh, hey, you know, they're going to hope to make a quick buck, and honestly, their odds of doing that are very slim. Actually, you know, this is going to go down levels and levels and levels, okay? So we're kind of jumping down here to the bottom where we've got people throwing up banner ads, or they're putting up their review site, or they're doing whatever, really hoping and praying that somebody might come along and click their link, and they might make a, you know, $1,000 commission, okay? And there's no predictability about it, and probably everybody on this call has tried to do it at least once. I've tried to do it at least once, even knowing better. I've tried to do it, okay? And this is how it happens. Now, who gets big and powerful in this whole arrangement here? Is this guy getting big and powerful? No, he's not. How about this guy? No, he's not either. He got big and powerful because these guys were sending him traffic, okay? Not because of anything going on up here. Now, these guys get big and powerful up here because they're all supporting each other, right? So all of these folks down here keep sending them traffic up here, and they get bigger and they get bigger and bigger until, you know, they are called a syndicate, and we all, you know, either criticize them or give them mass adulation. Ooh, the gurus, you know, they're so cool. And even if we bash them, if we run into them at the bathroom in an internet marketing conference, ooh, you know. And this is all that they've done. They've just gotten a lot of people to send them traffic because whatever, all right? So these guys down here will never grow. These guys down here will never grow because of this. And these guys here are always going to get fatter and fatter and fatter, all right, until one day they can no longer fit into their neat little Ferrari, and then they disavow Ferraris altogether, and they start talking about what the new cool thing is, right? Okay. So this is the way that we want to set things up, guys, all right? What we want to do, and this is actually based upon a study that I did way back when, who knew, way back when I was in college. And at the time, you know, we didn't have, you know, we had an internet, but there was no Yahoo, there was no Google. I don't think there was an Excite. I don't think there was really anything. There were just a few web pages here and there. And so the study I did was actually when I wanted to get into the whole Hollywood movie business. Yep. And so, I did a term paper on networking and, how people, and I don't even remember what the original idea was. I guess I wanted to learn how to be a good networking kind of guy, which was never going to happen because that's not what I am, but, I was fascinated with the idea. So what I got out of it, surprise, surprise, was learning, basically with a simple little model like this right here that you see, that when everybody in a communication chain has to go to this person right here for communication, so I communicate to him and then he communicates to everybody, well, this guy has the power, and he's always going to have the power. And if you want to very quickly move up the ladder in something, you want to identify who the person is who controls the flow of communication. So that was something that I recognized back in 1995 as a undergraduate in college. If you think about it today, Google uses this same basic setup. If a whole bunch of people have links pointing to this guy, well, this guy must be the authority. And if he happens to throw a link back to this guy, well, he just gained a bunch of authority, didn't he? Okay? So we all want those links from those big, high-quality, credible authority sites, and this is all that it is, okay? Now, what happens if this guy right here now controls the flow of communication? So these guys now have to come to him in order for something to be communicated up there. And if he wants to communicate anything to these people, then he's got to come back down here so that it can be communicated. Well, we have a total shift in power. That's what we have, okay? So the same thing, this is where you should be thinking from as an affiliate. It may seem simple, but this is really what it's all about. This is the meat of the message that I'm trying to get out there to folks who are affiliate marketers, okay? Instead of everybody pointing their links up here to Mr. Big Guy, you want to start to become a traffic interceptor. You want these people to come to your site and get on a list, because then you control the flow of communication. And then, as we talked about in high response traffic number 1, right, we want to devise strategies whereby, the king up here, up at the top, is going to have reason to promote us, okay? And then all of a sudden here, boy, we've just, developed a center of gravity that very quickly is going to pop up us up here on this level. It probably is not going to happen overnight. It might scare the hell out of some of you. Maybe you don't want to be on this level. But that's what your goal ought to be, okay? Don't be a cheap source of traffic for this guy up here who is never going to return any favor to you that's going to be any bigger than saying, here's your 50% share of the money that I already collected and sat on from these people who I'm never going to pay you anything for in the future, and I'm going to continue to sell loads of crap to, including the crap for my, syndicate network here. You just don't want to do that. You want to come into this game and say, I'm not putting up your banner ads anymore. I'm not, playing your game here. The people come through me. So, I did a promotion yesterday, just kind of gives you a slight variation on the theme, for opt-in surge. And if you're one of my new people, I said I wasn't going to promote a bunch of stuff to you, so I'm not going to promote any stuff to you. I'm going to keep my word. You're going to come to know who I am, and then I'll start promoting stuff to you that I think, fits this whole picture. But, I devised a way to get in the middle of the whole thing here to give my people a better deal, and I have some tricks for doing that. So some people may not like those tricks. Other people are probably going to think they're crazy. Some people are going to call me a fraudster and whatever, and that's fine because my allegiance is first and foremost is to my family, but it is to my customers because I don't get anywhere without good customers, and I value good customers. And, I hope that you guys recognize in my sales letters, and if you don't, you'll find out pretty quickly, that I'm not just talking a bunch of smack when I say I don't see the whole world as my customer. I don't want everybody in the world to be my customer. Some customers are worth far more trouble than they're worth, and I'm actually kind of happy with telling some people to go away and to take their money with them, and that's absolutely fine with me. So anyway, guys, I hope that you get this. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We're right at the hour here. I know that it's getting late for some of you. I'm going to see if there's some questions. If you have any questions on this material, let's try to keep it on this material just because we're at the hour. If there are any questions on this material, though, I'm more than happy to answer them. Please just type them into the question box over here, and I'm going to go on down. Actually, it looks like I've got one question here from Hank. Hank says, my problem isn't quality products or adding value, but in getting my offer seen without funds to advertise or much time to do SEO, social marketing, etc. Hank, this is what I'm talking about really is perfect for you, okay? It took me a while to figure out some of these things, but if you have a product and you have an asset, and what you need to recognize is the value of that asset to other people in accomplishing their goals. So with high response traffic report number 1, really what we're looking for are people out there in our marketplace, in our niche, who have a product that they'd like to sell more of. They've built a list, and yet, that list, we're all on lists that we got on where people promote a product, and we see this really a lot in internet marketing. We get on a list, we're interested in a product, there's a bunch of buzz for that product for 2 weeks, and then poof, it's gone, right? We never hear about the product again. Well, there's still a lot of people on that list who are very interested in that product, but they just weren't made an offer compelling enough to make them jump, okay? So take your product, go out there and find somebody complimentary, say, look, you've done everything that you can to sell to these people. They didn't buy. Let's sweeten the deal here. Don't drop the price, increase the value. And that's a lesson that I've shared on the site, one of the best lessons I ever learned about marketing. Yes, I have violated that at times, but it's more out of laziness, to be honest, than it is because it's good marketing. I think that any really good marketer would tell you that. Don't slash your price 50%. Give them twice as much value, because when you slash the price 50%, you've just, slashed the perceived value of your product 50% as well. And, that's what I would recommend that you do, Hank. There's tons of opportunity out there. I mean, it amazes me, and I may regret saying this, but it amazes me that I teach people a technique like this, and I've taught other techniques like this, where I'm practically begging people saying, you know what, I've got products sitting around that I would like to sell more of, and I've got a list, and if only I had, some quick, easy bonus to send out there and offer people, I know that I would sell more of it, and, nobody ever comes knocking. And there are a lot of people out there. No, not everybody is going to go for this, but a lot of people are, and the smart marketers certainly are, because I want to sell more product. I want to sell more product. I want to get more prospects onto customer lists. That's the way it goes. So that's what I would look for. Look for opportunities. Really, as I pointed out, yes, I've done well, and I've taught a lot of people how to use AdWords to make money. But, to me, there are various different kinds of income. AdWords to me, and you can, go ahead and fill in the blank across the board, Facebook, article marketing, whatever, SEO, those are all nice ways to build up a trickle, a flow, a constant flow of traffic to your site. But, if you really want to accelerate your progress, that's not the way to do it. And I'm not going to tell anybody to do that. The alternative out there then, you have people talking about media buys and mass traffic and all this sort of stuff. Well, if there's anything out there in internet marketing that to me is fool's gold and a fantasy, I'm not saying that people don't make money doing that, but to the average person, you might as well take your $2,000 and go down to the racetrack, because your odds are just as good that you're going to lose all that money as you're going to make what it is that you're hoping to make. And if you happen to get lucky the first time and make $10,000 on that bet, well, the next time probably somebody's going to clean you out. I've seen it with a lot of people. So anyway, I've said enough of that. This is the kind of stuff that you should look at doing, Hank. Forget about, article marketing or these other things. They are very good, yes. Please do not let me confuse anybody. They are very good strategies for building a flow of traffic. And you'll discover, both are important. You need cash flow in order to stay in business. And, okay, I'll probably beat that point home enough. Next up here, all right. So what, I've got one question? Are you guys listening? Do you have no questions? Have I been that thorough in explaining all of this? Or, I don't know. Anyway, guys, we're past the hour here. I know that for a lot of you it's late, and I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Yep, Kat, what I'm saying is step up. I won't go too far off on all that, but really, guys, as affiliates, you've got to recognize your value in things, okay? And, you are, or you should be striving to be, an expert at generating traffic and an expert at converting traffic. And I'm here to tell you, there are a lot of people out there with really good products who don't know how to sell it. And there are a lot of people out there who are really good at selling products who have too much on their plate. And it's huge opportunity, and you don't know how much it is that you're losing. I wrote this in the report. You don't know how much it is that you're losing with these, passive, approaches, to trying to make a buck as an affiliate. I mean, really, you've got to say, I have value to offer here. This is my chosen model, okay? Because I am choosing to promote you up here at the top as an affiliate does not mean that, we have a dominant, submissive relationship here. Quite contrary, my friend. You might have a great product, but without great marketing, you are not selling squat, okay? This guy is not sitting here because he went out there and did all of this on his own. He's doing it because he convinced other people to support him and promote him, and that's it. And, there's really no difference between him and you, and once he was a clueless newbie, as you may feel now, but, you've just got to put yourself out there. I'm not saying, the whole, talk it till you walk it thing, but, you also have to recognize that if you're never willing to talk it, you're never going to walk it, because nobody's going to walk up to you and slap a badge on you that says, okay, now, you're qualified to do the next thing up here. So, yes, step up. All right. Let's see, Kat, and sell your stuff as a bonus, like in the paper. Yeah, I think actually I could turn one line in the high response traffic report into a product all on its own, and it's just very simply create a product, go sell it wherever you can sell it in order to build up a list, whether that be on the Warrior Special Offer forum, or if you might have a list, sell it to the list, or use whatever kind of traffic you can get in order to build up that list. Create that product, sell all that you can of that product to your list, then go out there and start giving it away to people who have complementary products with an affiliate commission that makes it worth your while. I mean, it's pretty simple, guys. I'd like to tell you that it's a lot more complicated than that. Yes, there are some little logistical things that you've got to figure out, but it's really, it's that simple. All right. Hank, my product is a small book report aimed at businesses, but also to consumers. Let's see here. My product is a small book report aimed at businesses, but also to consumers at the price point of $997, but is worth tens of thousands of dollars each year. Okay. Hank, I think the first challenge that you're going to have there is I'm going to be the first person to tell you, and it really pissed me off, to be honest. Excuse my language. I try to keep it pretty clean these days. But, I had somebody say, gee, you charged me $15 for a 23-page report, and this could have been a blog post. Well, sorry, no, it couldn't have been a blog post. And I don't know about you, but, Thud Factor kind of lost its effect on me. I mean, if anybody wants, to send me $5,000, I'll be more than happy to put all of the books on my bookshelf in a box and send it off to you, okay? And when it gets there, there's a lot of thud there, and it's going to take you a long time to read all those books, but they may have questionable value to you, okay? I happen to value things that work, okay? If you pay $15 for a product and it helps you to make $10,000, I'd say that was a pretty good investment. So, I'm not going to say that a small book priced at $997, if that's what you're saying, is not worth $997, but there are a lot of people out there who are going to say, gee, this is all I got was a 23-page report on, how to make a millionaire, and never mind that it actually works. I wanted more, man. They do. They're going to want more. And so, take that 23-page report, slice it up into a membership site, do whatever to kind of build up the value, recognize that there are probably people who are complete newbies who, want you to, to really, really, really break it down for you. And they need that, and that's valuable to them. So that is what I'd recommend there. Let's see here. Let me just make sure I haven't missed any. Let's see here. Ken, do you recommend using PLR to create your product? Ken, I think that what you want to do is win fans. That is really what you want to accomplish here. We've all got to get past this, win the day mentality, and we want to win the day, but it would be really good to win the year as well. And so, if the PLR is really good and it's really valuable, especially if you can take that PLR and make it something better, then sure, I'm not going to say don't use PLR, but I think, you want to have something that is unique, exclusive, and valuable. Those are three key things to remember: unique, exclusive, and valuable. I think you would agree that my report was unique, exclusive, and valuable. And the people who found it to be unique, exclusive, and valuable are fans. The people who didn't find it unique, exclusive, and valuable are not fans. And so that's what you want. You want to win fans. Don't just look at the quickest, easiest things that you could put together, because there are a lot of things that you could quickly and easily put together. I shared the example in the report. I don't know why I didn't name his name, but it was Peter Spoppen, and he came out with NanoBlogger. And I wanted to offer some bonus. I was actually, really excited about the product. I bought it. I was excited about it. And, the first thing that kind of deflated me was I know that promoting ClickBank products is terrible. I actually have a rule in my business. I don't promote ClickBank products in the internet marketing niche because everybody's going to steal my commission. So I knew that I had to have a bonus, and I was like, well, I really don't know anything about this, but I do know that I want to give myself, put something in place that's going to force me to do this system. And I was like, hey, I'll offer a webinar series, 4 training sessions, and I'll show everybody who buys through my link exactly the sites that I'm building, and we'll break this down, and, we'll make sure as best we can that people actually do this. And that turned out even better than expected. So, you can do something like that. I mean, yes, it helps that I have some credibility in the marketplace, and I had a list of people, but I saw somebody else, my top affiliate with the Affiliate Black Book, and, there were some pretty big-name people with big lists who promoted that product, but he did basically the exact same thing. He just set up Google AdWords and offered a membership site, the affiliate Black Book videos. And so he just took people through. Honestly, I never saw inside his membership site, even though, well, I don't know. I don't know what he offered to people. In fact, I don't even know if he actually delivered anything to people. I really don't. But I do know that he was the #1 affiliate, simply because he made this promise to people that he would support them on some level with implementing the material. So, long-winded answer there to should you use PLR. Just give people the best value that you can. Okay. Thomas says, yeah, Thomas, you're welcome, and I hope that this is eye-opening. And there are probably some things here. Like I said, I kind of had to throw this presentation together. Most affiliates, it's just, I'm not going to fault the affiliate for going out there and doing what people are telling them to do. And most of the time what people are being told to do is, really quite the opposite of what I'm suggesting you do. And what it is that they're doing is, putting the least amount of effort into something that they can. And, there are a lot of reasons, if you come from the AdWords background, that there's been all of this, quality score problems and then people getting their accounts suspended and everything. But this is it. This is the root. It's a whole lot of people learning second-rate, half-assed approaches to doing things and thinking because they, paid good money to learn this stuff from supposedly reputable people that they're going to have success, and they're not. They're just not, and that's just the sad truth. And yes, maybe it's easy, maybe it gets them in the game, and so therefore, they feel like they're getting someplace, but most people really just have no idea how much they're actually losing out on it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Maybe even having success in producing a sale with one of those systems is the worst thing that could happen to some people, because then all of a sudden they're like, well, I produced a sale, and so I'm going to build another one of these flimsy little websites, and I'm going to keep doing this, and they don't realize that if they just did things right, they could make so much more. So let's see here. You need a Mac computer with the latest OS, so when your 3-year-old son turns it off, you won't lose your work. It keeps a backup copy of everything. Hank, that wouldn't be a tough sale to make. So I'm probably due for a new computer before too long. My reluctance over the years actually to switch over to Mac is my very first computer, not my very first, but the first one that I ever spent good money on was an Amiga 500. Okay, 500 Ks of RAM, and and I went out and I spent a lot of money to double that RAM to 1K, to 1,000 K, excuse me, and then it was like all the really cool stuff on the market was IBM compatible at the time, and it just broke my heart. So I swore that I would never buy an off-the-beat computer again, but we're a long ways down the road now. I should just give that up, shouldn't I? All right, guys. Well, unless there's any last-minute question here, I want you guys to know how much I appreciate you being on tonight. It makes it a lot of fun for me, and I hope that there's a lot of good stuff. I've got a lot of work here to deliver the product that I want to deliver to you. But I do hope that this webinar tonight's been eye-opening. I hope that it gives you some real things, to think about, and some new filters maybe to listen to the messages that you're getting out there, and to say, well, what is the right way here? What is the right way for me? So, guys, with that said, I don't know what's next. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, everyone. I don't know what's next here, but something's next, and it'll be the best I can deliver to you. That's all I can say. So we will get this video up on the site if you want to go back through anything, or maybe if you jumped in here late. Everybody have a great night, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Take care.